Hey, this is Al McGee with YETicket.com. I'm here with director Jordan Roberts, and we're going to talk about his re-release films, 1, 2, 3, Frankie Go Boom. Now, Jordan, the first question I want to ask you is this. How did you get the great Ron Perlman to put on a dress, a wig, lipstick, and titties? How did you get him to do that?
Well, let's see.
I thought that was so funny.
It wasn't that hard. Actors always like to try something they've never done before, and Ron's no different. You know, it was fun for him to try and do something he'd never done. And I made this movie for very little money. I made it myself, and as I've been saying today on these interviews, you know, if you want to make an inexpensive movie and you want great actors, let them sleep in their bed. Don't ask them to travel, and let them do something they've never done before. So all I did was
it was that easy.
It was yeah, you know what it was, but it wasn't me that asked. It was Charlie who asked him, because Charlie worked with him on Sons of Anarchy. So Charlie said, Jordan, because I had an actor who was supposed to play the part who fell out, and Charlie said, why don't we ask Ron? I was like, come on, and he did, and there was that.
Wow,
It happened very quickly.
Well, that's good. Now, you're also a writer. You've written other movies or with other movies and things like that. But this movie here, what's the gist of this, or how did you think of this subject matter for this film? Did you have a brother in your life?
I did. I did.
To do that to you, or what? Or you
there are
did
two
it
things.
To him?
I had a brother, and I'm a member of a family that's a crazy, what we like to call these days, dysfunctional family. There was addiction and craziness throughout my family. There was bullying, there was just insanity, and one of us was an artist, one wasn't. So all of those dynamics were there. But I would say that the movie is really about Jordan, the writer and the filmmaker, processing the public humiliation that came from my first film, which critics didn't like. And the fact that they wrote nasty things about it on the internet was really troubling to me. It caused me a great deal of emotional turmoil, far more than I'd like to admit. I'd never been criticized like that before, and it just in the first film was quite serious. It was a drama, and it was quite personal, and I found that I was really deeply impacted by it. So next thing I knew, I was writing a comedy about somebody who had been humiliated in public, and what it would take for that person to put back his quote unquote suit of armor and go back and in the case of Frankie Go Boom, love again. Mm-hmm. And in case of me, go make another movie.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
So it was very much about humiliation.
Okay. So now, are you on the internet and things like that today? You can handle it today?
Yeah, I can actually. I actually can, and making this film was a part of that. Genuinely was a part of it.
Oh, that's good. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
Now, also, one thing I noticed in this film too, what I liked about it, and it was different for me, was that you had these two brothers against each other, but they had this loving, the parents were very loving to both of them. Mm-hmm. and things like that. Why did you set the parents like that to think like that and to act like that towards their sons? And I found that refreshing.
Oh, good. I'm glad to hear that. Not many people have ever mentioned that. I did that, I think, because that's my parents. They were both very loving and kind and decent to both my brother and I, even as we beat each other up and, caused each other dismay and pain. We had good parents. And as I say, this business of, I find it fascinating the way families can deal with various and sundry problems, including addiction. And my family definitely dealt with addiction across the board. And I find that some of those families that once they get into recovery are just delightful, perfect specimens of humanity. So I love that you found their warmth and kindness, because I wanted it in there.
Yeah, because for myself, I'm a former drug counselor myself. And also, I've been through the process too.
Beautiful.
And I saw a lot of that. And also Nora Don, she's one of my small favorite actors. I mean, when she's in, beautiful. I really enjoy her.
Yeah.
How did you get her to get this part? And did she understand? Well, she seemed to
No,
understand it because she played it
yeah,
very well.
yeah. She's a comedian, you know, and she loves comedy, and she loved the script. So that's why I got Nora. I mean, that far exceeded my expectations. When she puts on that devil costume and tries to tell him to make his penis hard, that's one of the funniest things I will ever shoot as long as I live. And you know, she's playing a woman who doesn't like saying those words, and it just she just does it exquisitely,
Eh,
exquisitely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she sure did. Also, I'm a big fan of Whitney Cummings. I used to watch her
Okay.
show. I
Yeah.
seen her in stand up. I met her. I got
Yeah.
a few pictures with her and things like
Oh,
that.
nice.
Man, you had her in a bikini and
Yeah.
things
Well,
like
she
that.
was she was not Whitney Cummings yet. That she became Whitney Cummings after
Right.
Frankie came out. So she was
Yeah.
one of those actors that popped after the movie was released. So she was a friend. I knew her because I'd hired her a couple times as a writer to write jokes for something, and always loved her. And so I was delighted that she'd be in the movie. But no, she popped big time after the movie came out.
Yeah, she sure did. Yeah,
It
like I
was
said.
because of my movie that she's the success she is. I'm sure she'd appreciate my saying that, but it was pretty much Frankie Go Boom that made her career.
Now, why are you reissuing this film at this time?
I think we were all a little frustrated. I mean, again, I made the film myself. We released it in a very interesting way. We split the rights, and you know, the people who had these particular set of rights, which is how people can stream the movie in their own home, we weren't very happy with it. So this company has come along, Strike, and they are interested in re-releasing lost gems and finding ways to make sure that the filmmakers participate in the profits of them, which is something that really doesn't happen. The distribution business is not good for filmmakers. Money is hidden money, and this company is, you know, interested in letting people view the movie in ways that allow filmmakers to profit as well, because it's my money. I invested it. It
Right,
would be nice for me to get some of my money back instead of just the distribution company. So
right.
they're letting the movie they're releasing the movie through some of these platforms where, for instance, they show commercials, and that's a way in which filmmakers can recoup their money. So
Now, Strike Back, are these the people that used to do those, what, were doing those shows, Strike Back films on
I
Showtime
don't believe
or,
so, but I'm not certain about that, but I think it's a new company, so I'm going to guess
oh,
that they
okay.
weren't those people. Yeah.
Yeah, because I saw the name and I thought that maybe that was them.
No.
And I did not research that. I
Yeah.
researched you and try to find more and more about you. Okay, let's talk a little bit more about you. Why did you decide to get in show business and be a writer and things like that?
I was an actor, and I wasn't very good. And I started writing plays, and people responded to my writing a lot more than they responded to me as an actor. And I came out here and wrote a play, and people said, "Hey, if you wrote a play, you can write a screenplay." And so somebody taught me how to do that. And I've always been a kind of expressive person, and I found that writing was more satisfying than acting for me. I like being a part of telling the story or creating the story, not just telling it. So, and I come from a show business, as I said earlier. That photo was of my mother, and she was an actress, so I grew up
Oh
in
yeah, was she in
showbiz. Yeah.
anything that I saw?
You know what? My mom was a journeyman actress. She probably did 100 episodic television shows in the 60s. She was on General Hospital for a few years.
Hmm.
She was in a movie called a TV series called Joe and Son. She was on Blondie. I mean, she just was a working actress for the 60s. And like many working actresses, she turned 40 and Hollywood said bye-bye. And so
Oh yeah.
yeah, she just became a lovely real estate agent.
In real estate. Well,
Real
fourth of
estate.
where a fourth of the people in a fourth of the adults in the United States. That's what they do these days.
Oh,
They
I
in
didn't
real
know that.
estate.
That's kind of scary.
Oh, it's a
Yeah.
large number. Now, let's talk about Bruce, which is played by Chris O'Donnell,
Yeah.
his character.
Yeah.
Now, when he read this script, he decided to do this part. Did
Yeah.
he have any trepidations about it, or he just said, "Hey, this is me"?
No, his excitement was that he doesn't usually get to play. He wasn't getting to play badasses like that. He was always getting to play kind of the nice guy, and he loved getting to be a complicated character. So he loved that. He thought it. I mean, maybe he thought it was him, but it was a part of him that he doesn't get to portray in film. But no, he jumped on pretty quickly, and he also contributed a lot of comedy to the film, because for the most part we stuck to the script, but every once in a while, the great Chris O'Dowd would take a march off into some new territory, and his timing and his sense of humor is impeccable.
Oh yeah, I've been watching him for years.
Yeah. He's a remarkable talent, and a gifted actor as well. A lot of comedians aren't gifted actors, and Chris is both.
Yeah,
Tremendous.
I know. Yeah, I've been watching him for years.
Yep.
On television and in the movies.
Yep.
But another person I just started watching recently is Lizzie Kaplan. Now her name is Lassie
in the movie. Yeah.
Yeah, in the movie. Come on, tell me about that.
I don't know. You know what? I think it was. Look, you have to look at her father. Her father named her. Her father's a complete moron. So I'm not guilty. I'm just the writer who wrote a father who would have named his daughter Lassie. But I'm gonna take the fifth and punt it over to the character I created, who played her father, Chris Noth.
Yeah. He played. His character was Jack. Also, again, he was a guy. He was wild.
Yeah. And he never gets to play that. That's another thing. He never got to do that. We think of him as, buttoned down, and that's probably not the real Chris, but he loved playing that part. He loved it. He threw it all in too.
Yeah. And I said, man, this guy's a ladies' man. He's playing this role, or he's a slick detective.
Yeah.
And he's playing this part.
Yeah. No, he's got a lot he can do.
Now, also, you as a director, did you have a lot of, let's say, were you in command when you were shooting this, or was it a free-for-all?
No, I think I did okay. I think on my first movie, it was probably a bit more of a free-for-all, though I don't think you can really direct a film. I mean, you can. It's hard to direct a film and not ultimately be in charge. It's very hard to be in charge, especially with so many talented personalities. What was nice about this movie is nobody got paid, so there was no hierarchy of a star. We all got paid $100 a day or something. There was no money involved, so there weren't a lot of egos involved. But I would say I was more or less in charge. I think each film I make, I learned how to be a little more in charge. And what's curious about directing films is the more in charge you are, ideally, the more humble you are. Mm-hmm. And that's going to help you make a good film, in my opinion. Some people don't agree with that, but I like to collaborate with the people around me and still be in charge.
Now, you also wrote this and you directed this, but also you wrote on other projects.
Yeah.
What do you like the most, writing or directing? What do you like? What's the best for you?
Both. Listen, writing is easier by far. I mean, you just get up, you walk into the backyard, you go into your office and you write. Making films is very hard. It's brutal. And the older I get, the harder it gets, right? But I love the collaboration that happens in directing that doesn't happen as much in writing. I mean, there's some collaboration, obviously, in writing, but those sessions of collaboration are separated by months and months when I'm off alone writing. And then I bring a script and I'll talk with my producer or the studio. But in directing, you're every moment of every day, you're in the creative process with other artists. And I love that. I love the communication required. Some directors get offended when I say this or disagree with me in it, which is fine. I absolutely maintain that directing is one of the only art forms where you don't, by yourself, do anything. Everything that you do through another human being. Everything. You talk to a cinematographer, you talk to an actor, you talk to a composer, you talk to a costume designer, you talk to an editor. You talk to people who help you take what's in your head and put it on screen. You are a communicator. You need others, but a lot of directors somehow think they're one-man show or one-woman show, and that's not my experience.
Yeah,
collaboration.
And I think that's why the public, almost all of us, love films, because we know it's not one person that put that piece of art on the screen or on the television these days, and that's why they go to the movies.
Yep.
And many people see themselves too in those characters. Which character was you in this film?
Ron. Listen, every writer will say this, and it's sort of true. We can't really write a character that doesn't have a piece of us in it, right? But obviously, the humiliated person, the person who was publicly humiliated and was licking his wounds and hiding in a little cage in the desert, that was me. And I made the movie in order to explore the end of the movie, him putting on his little suit of armor and going out to love again, is the point of the movie for me. Like, what would take a scared, hurt, humiliated human and make them risk pain, the pain of creation or the pain of love again? So that's
wow. Yeah, that's what we want. Just
yeah,
one
well,
more final.
I hope it's what we want.
Yeah. Well, one more final question. I'm
Yep.
really enjoying talking to you. I can talk to you for a little bit more. What do you want to do next, especially now the way things are with the pandemic? And also, I feel that as filmmakers now, they can really get their films out because there's a lot of streaming services out there. What do you want to do next?
Well, I'm writing two different things right now. One is a very strange, dark television show, 6 episodes that I will write and direct, hopefully. And the other is a big, loud, crazy, supernatural comedy for Kevin Hart. So I would hopefully for Kevin Hart. Kevin doesn't have any idea I'm writing something for Kevin Hart, but
yeah,
unless he's a fan of your show, he does now. But those are the two things. There couldn't be more different. One is a broad comedy and one is a dark little drama, and I love them both. And But you're right, it's a good time for any filmmaker because for the first time in the history of the universe, the means of production and the means of distribution are in the hands of anybody. Anybody with a phone and an internet connection can make and distribute a film. It's never been the case. It's never been the case. So young people today, I tell them I don't know that they fully appreciate the wisdom I'm trying to give them, but they are living in the golden age because if they have a story to tell, they can tell it and they can share it.
Yeah.
It still has to be a good story. It still has to be a good story.
Oh,
That's the hard part. The phones are currently vastly exceeding our talents as storytellers, in my opinion. Right.
And I really feel that's one of the greatest inventions we have today. And also flushing toilets too is on my second.
There we go. Well done. Well done. Nice chatting with you, Albert.
All right. Thank you, Jordan. And
pleasure.
Frankie Go Boom. Everybody see it. And it's on all the platforms, on Prime, it's on Apple TV, Vudu, everywhere. And did I miss any of them?
Unfortunately, I'm not gonna be able to tell you, but I don't think so.
I'll put it up.
The biggies.
I'll let them know. All right. Thank you, Jordan.
Friend. Peace. Bye now. Bye.
This is your entertainment ticket. Latest and greatest movie.